are back with another Stygian interview, this time with Desiree Ortega, one of our wonderful authors. And let's jump in as usual with you just telling us a bit about yourself.
Sure. Hello, everyone. I am Desiree M. Ortega. Let's see what to say. There could be so much to say, and yet I'm trying to keep it short. so, I currently live in Florida in the United States, and definitely someone who doesn't thrive in hot weather. So I need to move further north. Have thought of Canada. So
Ah,
putting that out there.
we're
See
here,
the
we're waiting.
and yeah, since I was little, I've always had a passion for anything creative, anything artistic that I can get my hands on. I wanted to delve into, so I did theater, I did visual arts, I did dance, I did music. Anything like that was my passion, and eventually fell into, well, writing was always something that I fell back on. It was my escape. It was where I could express myself and release emotions. And getting older, I realized that was home for me. And so I began writing and really focusing on that being what I wanted for my career. And yeah, and I currently also have a YouTube channel. I'm on Twitch occasionally, about 4 days a week. So just building the writing community, getting to know new people, like-minded people is one of my passions as well, to help encourage each other, because writing can be very solitary. It can be very lonely at times too. And so it helps to have other people that, like I said, are like-minded, that you feel encouraged by, and to not give up because it can get hard. And so, yeah, that's a little about me.
Awesome. And yeah, we have a lot in common in all of those areas. And I like what you said about, finding writing after sort of experiencing a lot of other creative pursuits, because
Mhm.
that was something for me as well. Because I'll say like, oh, I've been writing forever, and I have, but my sort of foray into the writing community and
Mhm.
writing at a more professional level is actually quite new. It's,
Mhm.
a few years after playing around with a whole bunch of other things and going, oh no, this actually is it. This is my outlet.
Exactly. Yeah, I was going, my best friend and I, we started a film production company
Oh, cool.
because we were going to do that as well. And
Mm,
so I remember, but I loved the writing process of the screenplay writing. So I
mm,
realized eventually it was just like I kept coming back to the writing part. And I was like, okay, this is actually what brings me joy. This is what feels like home. This is what I'm supposed to do.
hmm I wanted to be a director at one point. And
Nice.
we're both doing filming on YouTube, so all of the different things you experiment with, you can bring in and sort of make into one big thing. I think, especially on a platform like YouTube, it allows you
Mhm.
to express so many different elements of yourself, which is kind of cool.
Came full circle somehow. There we go.
Yeah, exactly. So, what inspired you to contribute to the Stygian collection?
So I was in a place where I had literally just finished. I had printed it out, so I'm pointing at it because I have Stygian there, and then I have my other book there. I finished. Yes, I finished the draft to a romantic suspense novel. It's a chunky one, and it needed to go through the editing phase, but I wanted to physically have a copy of it, so I got one printed on Amazon and brought it. Yes,
I do it.
that's the better way. That's the better way. I went for the aesthetic of
Oh my
it,
gosh.
but it's huge because it's double spaced.
Oh, I
So,
love it though.
but it's so pretty. And so after I finished that project, I was kind of in this perfect middle spot where I was waiting for a ghostwriting opportunity to see if that would come through. So when you guys reached out, I was, at first my thought was like, no, no. Like I automatically, imposter syndrome comes in, and I'm like, no, no, I won't have anything to contribute. That's wild. I'm like, why did they reach out to me? But then one day, like maybe a couple days after I saw the email, there was an idea that instantly came to mind. And I was like, let me just dabble. And so I took the idea and I just started writing. And literally, in less than 2 days, I wrote the whole thing, which
Oh,
was
wow.
just shy of 5,000
Yeah,
words.
I was gonna say it's one of our longer ones too. I'm just sort of looking at word counts here. You've got like page 206 to 222.
Mm-hmm.
2 days. That is inspired. That's
It
awesome.
was a I honestly felt so invigorated
Hmm.
because I hadn't written in that genre in a while, which was dystopian and dark
Yeah.
dystopian themes. When I used to write young adult, when I first started taking seriously the writing path, I did dystopian. I loved post-apocalyptic stories and just messing a little with the dark nature of humanity and combating that and
Hmm.
seeing just the different dynamics of what people would be like during that time if that's what our future looked like. So but then I've moved on to romance, so I hadn't touched it in so long, but I was kind of drained after writing this one. So I needed, like, it was the perfect timing where it was something fresh, it was something new, and I just kind of like my writing mojo kicked in again, which
Hmm.
I desperately needed because I kind of felt lost after that one and I didn't know what to do next. I wasn't really excited about the editing process because it's not
Right.
my favorite. I love drafting.
Yeah.
So but yeah, and then when it finished, I let a couple really close friends read it and I was like, what do you think? Is it too dark? Is it weird? Let me know. And they encouraged me and I was like, you know what are the chances? Let me just submit it and we'll see what happens, kind of a deal. So and then left it there months waiting and I was like, do did they like it?
Yeah, I mean we loved it. It's great. And I love these longer pieces in the book because we have a variety of lengths, right? You know, from like a one-page poem. We have
Mhm.
one poem in it that's like, I don't know, 4 lines or something. So we have these little snippets. And then we have a couple that are darker and longer. And I would sort of pair yours a bit with Mr. Morningstar, who has the most brutal story in the book. uh, he bumped right up on that edge when we were talking about like, okay, not too much gratuitous stuff, but he's like the
I got
limit.
I
He's got
got it
like,
right there, just right at the ledge.
yeah, it's like, all right, this is a lot, but it works and it makes sense in the story. So I definitely put both of yours up there. And as someone who loves like world building
Mm.
and sort of and darker pieces, it's one of my favorites for sure, yours. And I love how you take us into that world and you can really picture everything going on there. And I was personally I was hooked immediately. I was immediately like I cared about the characters instantly,
Mm.
and that is a sign of a really good author.
Thank you. Gosh, that means a lot. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I was really proud of that story. I really was, especially because I'm an overwriter. So I I can write, and needing to condense into less than 5,000, I was like, can I do that? And
Yeah.
thankfully I found a way and I'm glad that it worked.
Yes. Well, and since we're sort of alluding to various themes in your story, do you want to give kind of a spoiler-free blurb about it so that people who haven't read it yet know what they might be getting into?
Blurbs, my favorite. She says sarcastically, but
I know it's the worst. I'm sorry.
no, it's okay. It's part of the job. It's what we signed up for this.
Yeah, it's like you always have to be prepared with it, but you're never ready.
Exactly. Or you think you are, and then when you're finally on the spot, you're like head empty.
I
Um,
I had someone ask it to me once for A Time When Demons, my novel, and I literally had it in front of me, and I decided I hated it right then and there, and I was like, I can't say this, I don't like it.
no. So for the most part, we are in sometime in who knows, not so distant future where the entire realm of society has significantly shifted to very dark themes of just carnal pleasures, and imagine a society where suddenly no wasn't an issue and people felt that They could do whatever they want without consequence. And what that would look like in the long run, continuously, as that builds within society, what would that mean for people? What would that mean for different genders? What would that mean for, different ages? What is a child's life like in that time, and what would it look like? And so we kind of get a small little glimpse of someone's life. It's a young teenage girl, and we see pretty much what that looks like for her in her specific circumstance. And it goes through, sadly, a lot of dark moments, and there's loss, and there's loss of like physical loss, there's loss of maybe even, you would say, like emotionally, what you lose as someone, as a young person. There's an innocence that gets lost, and then becoming a fighter to survive,
Yeah.
needing to survive, period, whatever that looks like. No matter what comes at you, what that looks like for this specific character to survive what the world has become, and then trying to find that ray of hope, even within all the darkness, even within all that, that there's something to cling on to instead of just giving up,
Yeah.
especially with everything they've witnessed and have gone through. So that's kind of the best way I can go
Yeah,
about
I mean it's perfect, and I would say it's a dark coming of age
it.
story,
Yes, absolutely.
and so that people do know about the hopeful element, the title is Sanctum, which I think says a lot, that you're pulled into darkness, but you have that sort of that prevailing concept of like, where is this leading, and how is it going to end up? And
Yes.
one of my favorite things in short stories is when they are not quite so, done up with a bow, like
Mm.
beginning and perfect, like this is it, that's, standalone. I like the ones that pull you into a world, and then you're wondering like, okay, well, what happened before this and what's going to happen after, and maybe you'll never find out, but it sets your imagination going, and I think Sanctum does that a lot.
Yes, thank you. That was what was exciting, because it was interesting by the end. When you reach the end, there's so much more that can happen.
Yeah.
It can go so many ways. Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Who knows? Like, it's very interesting, and it was fun to end it where I'd ended it, but wanting to like definitely delve more in my own mind and what it could be.
So do you think you might explore this world more at some point?
I mean, I have been encouraged to by
Mm-hmm.
people who've read the story and have bought it, and have been really kind to let me know what they thought, and who have enjoyed the collection as a whole. And so I've had the little nuggets put in my mind. What if, would I possibly? And I could. I feel like I could. Whether I will, I don't know, because a part of me is like, it's such a nice package as is,
Yeah.
that I'm proud that I was able to even create a smaller package of something and it feel whole
Mm-hmm.
as it is. But there is that curiosity of, I could totally expand this world and make it
Yeah.
more. So it's I'm never saying never. I could totally see myself expanding upon it, but I don't know yet.
Well, I for one would encourage it, but I would also say, of course, wait until it's the right moment, if
Yes.
it comes. Like with creating it in the first place, it might just hit you one day that this is the time, I've got the stuff in mind, and it's time to add more to it. And I would absolutely read that if you were to come out with more in this world.
Oh, that's amazing. Yes, absolutely. I would wait for the time that it'll feel right. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's important with writing, I find.
Mm. Yeah,
So,
especially with certain projects. It's just, there's a time and place for it. And,
mhm,
go, yes, you need the discipline to finish something, but there's also, the story tells you when it's ready to be told
yeah.
to a certain extent. And so you kind of go with that as well.
For sure. So I know you only worked on this for a couple days, but do you have any anecdotes or, memorable experiences related to the process of writing this piece?
Well, I will say the draft came out in less than 2 days. But one thing I definitely encourage is finding those close confidants who will be honest with you and
Mm-hmm.
let them read your work, um, for the sake of one, to kind of, it can be encouraging even if it has issues and plot holes and things that need work. There are going to be good things to be praised about as well, and as a writer I think we need to be told where we did well, because we're constantly our worst enemy as it is. And
Yep.
so if we can have any type of encouragement within any project, the process within a project, that's important. And then also just because getting those second like eyes on it, second, third, whatever, um they're going to catch things that you wouldn't normally catch.
Yeah.
So it's, I always encourage people to try and share your work. It's scary as hell, I get it, it's terrifying,
Yeah.
but it is so worth it in the end because it does make you a better writer.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, a big part was finding a very select, intimate group of people that I trusted wholeheartedly. One, with their discretion, and two, with knowing that they'll let me know. And one of them is an editor. So she
Perfect.
actually helped edit the first round of edits before the wonderful Pamela got to her hands on it. And so it was very helpful for me to like have those eyes on it to like make it better. And that was something. So again, I definitely encourage people, try and find one person at least who's not going to just dump sugar on you just because they don't want to say a mean thing or a discouraging thing. Find someone who will tell you what they feel genuinely as a reader and a writer potentially. And because it does make you a better writer when you get that feedback.
Yeah, 100%. And going back to what you said when we started talking about, writing being a solitary thing, that is a huge element that will take you out of that a bit, and you need it because I know there are people who, write in silos. It's just I'm in my space, and then
Mm,
it goes out into the world, and like you can get lucky sometimes. You can put something out that's good, but honestly, if you are really dedicated to improving your craft and getting out there, you want to have a community. You want to have some people, even if it's a very small community, just to, tell you how it is.
exactly.
It's really important.
Which is what I love about like just the online community, the writing
Hmm.
community, that encouraging even within them, like those who come and visit, find each other. Like
Yeah.
you're all writers, so let's work with each other, help each other, read each other's work. And because that is the one thing people are more like really terrified to do, but we have a really encouraging community, so take advantage of it for sure.
Yeah. Actually, that's a very good sort of lead into one of my other questions, which is how do you feel being part of an anthology that features the works of other creators from AuthorTube and brings in that community element to publication?
For me, oh man, it's such an honor. Like honestly, to be within that group of talented authors, the fact that I get to be a part of that and call myself one of those authors is beyond still surreal in my brain to process. I'm like, oh yes, I have published something. I am an author. And aside from like my indie stuff, I'm like, oh no, this is, yes, this happened. And so definitely honored. And it was really exciting to here there were so many voices I hadn't heard yet
Mhm.
within the community. There were so many I still haven't like hadn't gotten to know and that were there, but we just hadn't crossed paths yet. And so I really loved the opportunity of meeting everyone and seeing just how different and creative everyone's take
Mhm.
on this type of stories, like different dark elements of stories, storytelling happened. And so it was just, yeah, for me, it was really exciting to kind of like get to know those who I hadn't crossed paths with, and an honor to have been able to be a part of such an amazing group as well.
Yeah, it is really a perfect group that came together in the end, I think. And there's so many quirky characters and people who just have it's so cool because I mean our concept was, we tried to make it very broad, right? Just,
Mhm.
what's your interpretation of this word Stygian of, dark and hellish, and to see everyone's take on that. It's interesting how everyone's come together kind of as this cohesive group. And I also always say, like, if you have the collection, read the whole thing through. It flows well, beginning to end. The order is very intentional. But I've been thinking about how, the progression started with our community where, I reach out to a bunch of people, then you get the people who come back, the people who submit and stuff. So just that progression, we all have something in common that brought us to this place, which
Mhm.
makes it a good group moving forward. And I really hope that we can all stay connected in some way, even though I
Yeah,
know it's difficult, right? And
I know,
with
but
so much going on, but
there's so much.
yeah.
This year has been a wild ride, but
Mhm.
we have at least like there's a little tether keeping us
Yeah.
together still. And so as long as we find ways to nourish it and nurture it and find some little activity that brings us together again, I think that's definitely something to take advantage of because it was such a unique opportunity to bring all these various people together to
Mhm.
work creatively and build something that ended up being it came out amazing.
Yeah. And I mean, it's better than I ever thought it could be, honestly. Like I had this prevailing goal of, okay, well, hopefully the people will be good and hopefully we'll get some good stories and, we'll put it out and I don't know how invested people will be in the community element, but everyone just came together and believed in it. And that's just been my favorite part. And, launching our Discord, I'm hoping we can keep things going. And, that's not just open to authors, it's open to readers as well. It's going to be a creative community moving forward with NaNoWriMo, although our little Stygian group has our own private corner on the server, of course. So so I think that's going to be really fun to keep going, and it'll be a good spot for everyone to just check in with one another.
That's awesome. And the artwork, gosh,
Oh,
guys, the artwork.
I
It's
know.
stunning.
I know. And like Lori's art, I'm hoping to corner her for an interview as well, just to
Oh
sort of talk about her process and stuff once we have our author interviews and just yeah.
my goodness, so much goodness.
All her little illustrations will
Yes.
and
I'm so
we
bored.
for anyone who doesn't know yet, we have merched these up. So on Stygian Society website, you can get stickers. I am looking into temporary tattoos, but apparently that is kind of difficult to manage. They want you to order like 5,000 of them up front. I'm like, well, I'm
Dang.
not doing that.
Like, can we start a little smaller? Like,
Yeah,
ease
just a
into it a
little.
little.
Yeah, exactly.
Though
So with
temporary tattoos would be badass.
I know, well, because her work just lends itself to that so much, right? And I have a notebook with the original black and white art, and I love it so much.
Oh, that's
That is also
beautiful.
just get my shilling in here. We have that on the website as well, and it's beautiful, like matte cover, and it's got the little
Ooh.
dot
It's
interior.
dark
So
grid.
yes, it
Oh,
is.
that speaks my language. The stationary buff in me's like,
I know. I'm gradually trying to get one of everything of the merch we put out, and I was like, I need the notebook. I need the notebook immediately.
that's on the top of the list. I need to
Yeah.
put that on my list. So
Mhm. So now that the book is out in the world, what were your original hopes and expectations, and how have things been going from your end? What you've seen with purchases and reviews and stuff like that?
it's been interesting because I didn't know what to expect, honestly. I was kind of like, I'm throwing this penny in the well. We'll see what happens kind of scenario. And like you, like it was the whole, are other people going to take it as seriously? Are they going to be as
Mhm.
invested? How is it? And then seeing how invested everyone did become. And then the work that you guys specifically put into it. Like, honestly, it was admirable. It was wonderful to see. It made me excited. It made me proud to be a part of this. And so that I had no idea what to expect, period. And so since then, I've heard from a few people here and there who have read the stories and they came across mine and they were really excited and very very sweet and encouraging on the writing front and the storyline and wanting more of it, and the ones who were like, you should build upon it kind of a deal. So it was surreal, like seeing people post pictures of them holding their
Yeah.
book.
Yeah. Every time I
And
see it, I'm so happy.
I know it was like we did that. Like
Yeah.
we actually did that this year. It
Hmm.
all happened within 2023.
Hmm.
And so I mean, I'm floored. I'm excited just for the people it has reached, and the more that it's going to encounter, and then for me personally, I'm excited to come to a place where I can even promote it more too, because life for me personally went on a very interesting journey for
Hmm.
the last few months. So it's been very up and down on what I can dedicate my time to. So for me, I'm kind of like, ooh, now that the holidays are coming up, Halloween's coming up, I really want to like push for it
Oh
more
yeah.
and
Spooky
really,
season.
yes, spooky season and all the fall colors and
Yeah.
glorious.
I yeah, I'm
Yeah.
excited for that too because we had like our first round of, release pushing and like, okay, yeah, but now we're gonna gear up for spooky season. That's gonna really be like that's made for Stygian.
It really is. Like it's the perfect. I love that we got it off in the summer, kind of gave it its moment
Yeah.
to like come out, introduce itself, breathe. And now we're like, oh yeah, now get ready. Because if you still haven't gotten your hands on it, this is the time to get your hands on it.
Exactly. And just with that extra, addition of we're gonna have the environment, people are gonna have their decorations up. It's gonna be so much easier to just be like, this is thing for you. I mean, we got
The
skulls, we
pictures,
got all we
the
got everything in here.
pictures with all the props, the pictures with all the props and decor that people are
Yeah.
gonna have. It's gonna be chef's
I
kiss.
I'm working on sort of plotting some of that out right now and what we're going to do for a push. It's very exciting, but
Love
yeah,
it.
I'm so glad that you've had a positive experience with that. I mean, that's what I was
Mhm.
hoping for everyone when we set out. It was very much, Pei and I were saying like how would we want this experience to be? And it helps to be writers ourselves, right? It
Mhm.
helps to you have publishers who are doing it as like a business, but for us, it's very much a passion project. And, if it's positive out of that, that's a good thing. But we want to make experiences that we would want ourselves rather
Mhm.
than some of the ones we've seen out in the world right now where there's a lot of people taking advantage of authors, and even if they're not doing that, they're just not giving you the spotlight that you deserve and
Mhm.
expecting so much and not really giving much in return. So we really hope to make a fair and fun environment for
Mhm.
anyone that we're publishing. And I think so far it's been going well.
Yes, it has. You guys, and that's like you said, I think that's what was really that stood out and was important, that you guys understood as writers as well as, being a publishing company and all that. You guys cared about the art,
Yeah.
not just the business aspect and the marketing and the numbers and all that. You wanted to put something together that you guys were proud of as well.
Yeah,
And so, yeah,
absolutely.
absolutely.
So, I guess I should ask you because I know this and we've been talking about community and things, but on your channel,
Mm.
to take a moment away from our wonderful collection, on your channel, what do you normally talk about on there? And does it relate to the themes that are in your story? What do you usually like to make videos on?
So my journey with my YouTube channel, Coffee Reading Writing, started actually back in 2015. And at that time, a lot of the popular videos were very how-to videos on the writing process, different things like that. Back then, I was writing YA, I was writing dystopian, post-apocalyptic. So I did speak upon like those themes a few times.
Hmm.
Life happened, and then we fast forward 6 years, and I came back after leaving the community.
Okay.
And so I came back, I guess it's now been 2 years, and it was something that I missed. The whole point I started the channel in the first place was to connect with the writing community
Mhm.
and to help, you know, facilitate and build it if I could, so that others who needed the answers I was looking for could find them. And together we can kind of do this thing called writing and dreams and hopes of publishing, whatever that looked like for you. And so currently I've decided more, instead of the how-to videos, I really have taken to just sharing my process, my journey, and what that looks like. And it varies day to day. Some days it looks the same because a lot of it's in this little space right here. This is my sanctuary here in
Your
this
sanctum.
yeah, it's my sanctum right here, this little room. And so so for me, I just like being able to share what it looks like for me without pushing for anyone to feel like this is what it has to look like for you. No, this is just what it looks like for me. And there are many roads and many variations we can take to get wherever it is you want to get to. But it helps others to feel like, okay, I can do it. It may not look like this, but it's fun to have someone else or watch someone else aiming for the same goal
Mhm.
and kind of like co-working together
Yeah.
and doing, just watching each other work and achieve goals and different milestones in the writing process.
And even if you're someone watching who's not fully ready to like jump into a community yourself, it's a good stepping stone. I find having people on YouTube like that, because you can feel like, okay, well, we're in it together, even if we're not,
Yes.
completely talking and stuff like that. It's very comforting, especially when you're alone in your studio writing.
Yes, and that's my hope. I hope to kind of just be another friend via the internet that
Yeah.
we're aiming for the same goal here. We're doing it kind of together, and because it's very solitary, and you don't feel alone when you're trying to gain whatever it is that you're trying to gain in the publishing world.
hmm Yeah, I think it's very valuable. And how do you believe that your experience as a YouTube creator has influenced your writing style or your approach to storytelling?
I definitely feel that since coming back to YouTube, and being very involved within the writing community, that I luckily found and got brought into, and I was very, very lucky to make some really great new friends, all writers, within the community, plus people who watch who aren't on screen, and all that. I definitely feel that it has influenced my writing. It has challenged me to try things that perhaps if I was alone and I would talk myself out of doing.
Hmm
There's a certain accountability that
Yeah.
I've had because of being a part of the writing community on YouTube that pushes me to not give up on something when it gets hard because people know you're working on something. So they're
Mhm.
like, how's it coming? Where is it at?
They won't
How
let you
far?
forget it.
Nope. So there's that extra little nudge for you to get it done. And for example, there's Barrett Laurie, who's on YouTube, does a lot of like flash fiction prompts and things like that. And so through that, I've actually been, because again, I'm a long-wind writer as I am a talker. And so so for me, being like taking an idea and having a certain amount of time to just try to flesh it out is challenging, but it's I've come up with some things that I've been really proud of too. And I would say that when it comes to the romance genre, it heavily influenced that I write short romances now and I
Yeah.
publish under an indie name. And so with a co-writer,
Mhm.
I had no intentions of doing that anytime soon. And so that was something that came from being a part of this community and being on YouTube, and I'm happy about it. Like it wasn't the road I saw for myself any, like I said, anytime soon, but it's been something I've thoroughly enjoyed.
That's great, because there's a lot of bad things about the internet, right? But
Yes,
I
unfortunately.
find I find that our little community has kind of made the best of it. Just from what I've seen, it's a
Mhm.
very positive and uplifting space on
Yes.
AuthorTube. I know there are corners with drama, but luckily I
It's
haven't
not
been a part of
perfect.
them.
Nothing exactly. That's the beauty of it. It's not nothing's perfect. And when those little
You can see
whatever
that? Yeah.
happen, I'm like, okay, well, I'm going this way.
Yeah, it's like, "Look, moving over here now."
Yep, you guys do you. I'll be over here.
Yeah.
La 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 la.
Yeah, you can pick and choose.
You can. You really can. Whether you engage or not is 100% up to you. And for me personally, I'm like, I don't want to engage. I want to
Exactly.
keep things positive. I want to keep things open and welcome to everyone. And so, at least for me, so far, like you said, there are little things here and there, but we have a really great community for the
Yeah.
most part.
It's one of my favorite things about the author community, just how, because also in the arts, I have a history doing like art events, and there can be a lot of competition and cattiness. And it's been great to find this space where everyone's, we're all writing, no one's competing. Maybe there's a healthy bit of, oh, that person's writing a bit better than me, but you just up your
Mm-hmm.
game and you make friends and you promote one another. And it's
Exactly.
just so nice to see.
Yes, because I remember when I was doing film, I was going to go to film school, but when I was doing the filming company, the film company, I got together with others who were doing a short movie. And it was just so sad. The environment was very competitive, very
Mhm.
what who's your favorite director, because that is going to determine whether we think you are worthy or not and we like you, kind
Yeah.
of deal. Like there was no right answer to anything, and it was I don't thrive in those type of like environments. For me
No.
personally, there's some people who live for it, they live for the high, and they're like, I'll show you, that's great.
Mhm.
I don't thrive in
No.
that.
Yeah,
I
me either.
want people to get along. I want people to encourage each other, not step on each other. And so yeah, so that's why I've been very grateful to this community, because like you, I've had past experiences with other art communities, entertainment communities, that
Mhm.
unfortunately it is very competitive and catty at times.
Like art is hard enough, right?
Real.
Let's just support each other.
Thank you. Absolutely. We're all struggling. We all have our inner demons we're fighting while we're creating. Like, don't
Exactly.
add
And
to it.
there's billions of people on the planet. There's someone for every writer when it comes down to it. And
That's what I absolutely love.
we don't just read one book. We
Mhm.
read many books, and you can appreciate many people.
And
So
there is something for everyone. Literally, there is something for everyone
there
out there.
absolutely is.
And so I take it from Lyra Parrish, who's an author. She always says, "Don't yuck someone's yum."
Mhm.
And so I'm like, I live by those words. I'm like, you know what? At the end of the day, there is something for everyone. Don't yuck someone's yum. That's the beauty of art. That there is
Exactly.
literally something for everyone. So
Yeah. So on that note, as we wrap up our conversation, I of course would like to give you a platform to tell us about any other projects, creative endeavors that you're currently working on that you would like to share with the Stygian audience here, and let us know what we can see from you going forward.
So currently may not be everyone's cup of tea, and that's totally okay. But if you're a fan of really short, slightly steamy romances, I, with my co-writer Tiffany Russell, we are under the pen name Desiree, and so that we have started publishing, fast releasing short stories since June. We just released our 12th book.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Congrats.
it's really surreal. Yeah, thank you. And so we have books planned till the end of the year, so we're not slowing down.
Amazing.
Um, it's been a really fun experience, and so if that's something you guys are into, they literally can be read 90 minutes to an hour. They're really short, sweet, to the point romances with a little steam in it. It's not erotica; it's more romance with some steam. And so that is what you can find us on Amazon. We are currently on KU as well, Kindle Unlimited. So if you have Kindle Unlimited, you can read them for free. And that's been a big portion of what I've been working on. I would like to, hopefully by the end of this year, come back to my Project Blinding Lights book
Mhm.
and edit it, because my dream for this book is to possibly go traditional publishing with it. So the querying process and all that is in the works somewhere in the near future. So that's something I hope to pursue and dedicate some time to. And that's the immediate stuff. I hope to be able to play again with more dystopian, dark elements, post-apocalyptic themes. Because, like I said, something kind of revived within me when I wrote Sanctum that I definitely feel like I need to have on the side and play with as well. Um, So we'll see what happens on that front. But yes, for now, Desiree pen name, and then hopefully eventually traditionally publishing under Desiree M. Ortega.
That's great. And I will be watching you. And I hope that everyone else here does as well and follows your writing journey. And I will also be leaving your links in the description below, of course, so that people can follow you and find you on Amazon. And I've really enjoyed talking today. It was
Yeah,
great delving into your story and your background and stuff a little bit more. And it's always nice getting to know the authors more because we've done a lot of group work, but not a lot of
exactly.
one-on-one. So I like doing
Exactly.
these.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun. I'm glad I got to like kind of just sit down with you and chat. We've been overdue on this.
Yes,
I was like,
absolutely.
I wanted to just sit down with Holly, hang out, and chat. So this was a lot of fun. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. And hopefully it will not be the last one. So
Here, here.
all right. And I will give you back the rest of your afternoon. Thank you again, and we will talk soon.
Talk soon.